Well, good afternoon, good morning, good day, good night, wherever you are in the world, because we have people all over the world that tune in. So I'm glad to be here. I am Dr. Jacqueline King, as you know, the CEO and founder of Black Women Empowered. And I always bring exciting people and amazing people to you doing amazing things. And today certainly will not disappoint you. My good and long-term friend, Mary Kurek. This woman here. She is so gifted to do so many things, but she started an organization, and it is called Frontrunners Development. And so she shines the spotlight on so many people around the world. But Mary, before we get into that, let's talk about your background, because you've done some, when you were actually working for someone, you've done some pretty amazing things.
Oh, well, thank you. First of all, thank you for having me on. This is great. I enjoy always spending time with you, Jackie. So this is good.
Absolutely.
My first job was at 19 years old, and I worked in the governor's press office in North Carolina. So I was a little political rat, if you will, at that time. Fresh out of high school and going to business school in the Raleigh-Durham area. And that put me in a place where I could get, back and forth to the state capitol, which is where our offices were. So I got to work with the press secretary and the deputy press secretary there. And I actually got to travel with him some. And I think that was probably where I kind of cut my teeth on economic development types of things and leadership and just, being able to step up into professionalism. Very young age to do that, but, have some really good connections still from that experience and carried it with me all the way through to where I am today. So
Well, that
it was
got you
very,
your start. But
yeah.
what made you want to start Front Runners? How'd you get started with that?
Oh boy, that's a long thread. Well, when I take it from there and tell you that from there I worked in two international programs, both of them with cultural exchange sorts of feels to them. Then I'll let you know why I have gravitate towards international programs and work and people. And then Chamber of Commerce work, which also that followed and got me into the connectedness to connecting this person with that person, the people who have solutions with the people who need, and working with startups. So from there, I wrote a book that was about networking, business networking, and then it was right around that time I
What was
kind
the
of
name of
launched.
the book?
Who's hiding in your address book was the name of it.
Oh, I like that. Wow.
Well, it was kind of built on the idea of if you curate your dress book right, then you'll have access to people that you just didn't even think that you would utilize for a certain what in a certain way. And it was meant to get people to think broader about how they label people in just their occupations or something, because people are so much more than an occupation. When you start to look at them, then you can and get to know them in a relationship development way. Then you get to know a little bit about their background, because what they bring with them is all their experience in other areas that you never knew anything about, and with that comes that whole network. So it was something that was eye-opening for me. So I moved from there into, well, basically another county position that had to do with aging services. But that from that space and all the way through those 16, 17, 18 years or whatever, from that point of right
Uh-oh.
before writing the book into now, it and creating those relationships that was gonna propel me forward and help me manage what I'm doing now. So I'd like to say it was a day that I sat down and said, you know what, I'm ready to open my doors and do this great business. It was a migration, and it was something that carried me, not so much something I did on purpose, other than each time it decided it wanted to change its focus or reorganize itself, I let it. And then I followed it through. And that's part of that is God was leading me, girl. That's all I can tell you
And
is
that's what he does.
he led, I followed. That was what it was.
Well, a lot of people get the memo, but they don't follow through with it.
Mm.
And a lot of it can be just fear. What gave you the boldness to step out on faith?
Well, faith itself, I guess. But that, and I felt compelled that I guess I felt like I had fallen into and found exactly what it is that was intended for me to do all along. And with that purpose strongly in my head and my heart, I just felt like I had no choice. It was like a mandate. It was something that I had to follow through. I was put here to connect people, to help people through those connections. So finding that right formula about how this was going to work and work as a business was probably the tougher part, but it wasn't where I gave up. It was just where I, had to pay attention to where it was going, where everything was going and how it was being, how it was trying to form itself. And it's still
Yeah,
doing that, by the way. It's not stopped. It's still doing that.
that's a good thing. That's a good thing. So, from the beginning, you started doing what?
From the beginning. It's really funny because years ago when I sort of got into this line of work, it was because somebody asked me to do something for them. And it was a request from someone who was into software as a service. And he asked me to utilize social media to create some connections that would lead into distribution channels. He had just taken a job. They had a great big carrot in front of him. It was a big $1 million. Turn this company around, you'll get this $1 million. So he had motivation. And he asked me to use Twitter, I think, to help him find some distribution channels. Well, I did, because I was one of the few at that time that understood Twitter and understood you could use it for business. So I set up an account and that was there to service that particular need. Ended up sending him 15 in a month, and one of those 15 brought him 4 more. That same guy that bought him 4 more actually was his exit out of that company, was the person who helped him go to the next job
Wow.
that he was intending to go to. So he introduced me to somebody else in the video games industry that he knew. And that person asked me to do pretty much the same thing for them, look for distribution channels. And for them, it was publishers, publishers. So they gave me targets and did the same thing for that person. And I settled in the video games industry for a period of time. It was fast moving. It was fun. It was entertainment. It was all those cool things. And, like I used to always say, the 16-year-old that was doing this thing in the video games industry today would be 2 years later, running a company somewhere else, because it was fast and young. And I spent probably, I'd say, a good 8 years or so working in that until the next migration of the company evolved into heritage tourism, more businessy sorts of things. From there, it just kind of ramped up to startups, and then from there to kind of where it is now. So, it's ever evolving as times have changed and interests of the people have changed.
And I know about change because you and I
Oh,
went through a couple
yes.
of changes together.
Wow.
Yeah, so you are really the master connector, is what I call you. So tell me what Frontrunners is, and what's your objective? What do you get accomplished through Frontrunners?
We're Frontrunners. Okay. Well, Frontrunners is a global business development consultancy. And what it does through me and some partnerships is the overall mission is connect business and change the world. So it's business and impact married. Okay. And by impact, I mean greater good. Basically, most people have, associate that with a nonprofit or a charity. And I think for a long time, people thought that was what I was. I feel like the way that and so do a lot of my clients, by the way, feel like the way that you get to real lasting impact, or sustainability is the United Nations word for it, is through enterprise, because that's what motivates everything. That's the circular economy of economy. So that's how things happen. And so what we do is we help those people who have a needs, meaning they could be municipalities, governments, or NGOs, or it could be startups who have this disruptive innovation that they're trying to get to market. It could be, other entities in the scheme of things that are trying to do big works. We have partnerships with people who do sort of hybrid versions of smart cities in Africa, and other places of the world. We have, access to all kinds of individuals who are moving their products and services around the world for the purposes of creating some kind of impact, whether that's in cybersecurity or education, healthcare, a lot of things going on in healthcare. Energy, a whole lot going on in energy right now, and climate sorts of things as well, circular economy for sure, and housing's a big one for a lot of people, and all kinds of infrastructure sorts of things. So those are kind of our sweet spots right there. But specifically, what we do is arrange those introductions between people that we know have the solutions and the people that we come across that actually need those solutions. A large part of what I'm doing right now has to do with, I call it brokerage consultancy, meaning buying and selling of businesses is on the table. Commodities, trades, those sorts of things have come up. And by that, I mean like oil, jet fuel, minerals, those sorts of things, along with people who are seeking funds. So some fundraising, and that would be those large scale startups that are looking for, money to advance what they're doing. They have to be very credible and have their ducks in a row, so to speak. But we have vehicles that we can push them through and help them get ready for. And when we get them to a place where we think that this is where it can meet a success, then that's part of our enterprise kind of backs off, and then the next part of our partnership enterprise takes over. But all of those things are keeping me really super busy lately. So, but I tell you what, it's not just me; it's a whole bunch of me's. I thought maybe I was that oddball person that did this sort of thing out there. There's a lot of people out there doing similar to what I am. Some of them are more funneled into a particular vein, like healthcare or, energy, something like that. I'm sort of agnostic when it comes to the space, as long as I feel like I can do something with it, work well within it, its parameters. So, and if I can't, I know who can. I'll just work
Yes,
out that way.
you do know a lot of people. So, what are some of your clients? Do you have like a rating list? What are they saying about Mary?
Oh, well, interestingly enough, I just finished a 6-week, and it's something I haven't done in a little while, coaching program, and I'm sort of gearing that back up because I can see the need there. I just finished that with a former diplomat. She's a retired diplomat that's just opened her own consultancy, and because of the space that she connects in, it's really unique and unusual. She kind of represents, when she was a diplomat, she represented certain areas of the Caribbean. And that's an area that I'm trying to move people into, because I'm getting asked by people to, if I have any connections and tie-ins to Caribbean governments or this or that, certain types of entities there. So I look for, when I start to hear things like that, like in Indonesia, do you have any contacts in Indonesia? Do you have any contacts here or that? When I start to hear that, I start looking for that. And it's really funny. I don't have to look far. Usually God will drop them right in my lap. As soon as I think about them, it's like they drop right in. So that's something that we've been able to do. And because I knew she'd be so valuable, I was able to coach her in a way that it would help set her up for me to be able to create connections and introductions for her. So that's what I hope to do with maybe a couple more people this upcoming year. But beyond that, some of my clients would be, I've got a couple of people in the energy space, waste to energy, really cool space to be in. That's innovating at the speed of light right now. So it's taking waste of any kind pretty much and having a way to convert it into some kind of energy. Lots of countries interested in that. I do have still working with clients on our smart or sustainable village in Malawi. We've about 4 years in now. We're making some progress into that. And that's a soup to nuts sort of village. Hits all the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. Start with a data center that will get that connectivity going. 24/7 indoor vertical gardens or farms. It's solar village. All the things you need in it for about 10,000 people. And so economic development like crazy. And it would be sustainable and owned by the people who live and work in that village with shares, with non-transferable shares, just like you'd have your any kind of stocks that you would have. So that's a project we've been working on. That's with a former U.S. congressman that's also a former U.S. ambassador to Denmark. So he's the lead on that. So I get a chance to work with some of the people like that. We've got people inside the United States that are looking for things like they want to purchase assisted living centers, memory care facilities. So we're kind of looking around for that. I've got someone who's selling a group of doctors' offices in the southern part of the United States who has about 8 or 9 physicians' offices, and he owns the buildings they're in, who is selling those. And it's, OBGYN, it's general practitioner, and it's dental types of things. So we're working on that. So when I say the acquisitions, the sales and acquisitions, that kind of gets that piece of it. Still working with some startups with clean energy, clean water, devices, cyber security and GRC that's attached to it. So I have some of those clients as well as just other projects as they come along. So, but the mainstay that's keeping me the most busy is the funding stuff that's coming through because that just takes some time to get everything lined up and all the ducks in a row for that. So,
well, you sound like you're very busy. How big is your staff?
Oh, well, you're looking at her.
Look, me and you know how we do.
Well, no, because I have partners, it's helping a lot. But we have agreed as a partnership that we're gonna hire somebody very shortly to help do a lot of the work, the administrative work that is required for some of this. It's phone calls all day long, every day, and every phone call requires something else to be done. Whether it's 2 or 3 other introductions, whether it's some paperwork, whether it's an MOU to get out, or I'm sitting on an MOU that should have gone out yesterday too. So I've got to do that. So we don't do any business as a partnership, and me either, really, without some kind of agreement in place before we get started, because then with that business, that admin done and out of the way, then that way we can concentrate on what we really need to be working on and not give it another thought. It's done. It's put to bed. It's good to go. And so we can move ahead with what we need to do, especially in the funding space. That's important. But so we work together on that. But yeah, we will. I had a VA. I'll probably end up with another one at some point. It's just at some point you feel like you can manage to do things with all the platforms that you have around you, but then you realize it takes somebody to run the platforms. It takes somebody.
I know.
Yeah.
So I just want to emphasize to our audience how important networking is, because Mary found me on LinkedIn. I don't even know how many years ago now, Mary.
Oh Lord, it's been at least maybe 5 or 6, 7, maybe.
Yeah, and we connected, and we've been connected ever since. She is an amazing woman. You can find her. You see the directory going across the bottom of the screen?
Yes.
You can find her and look her up in our directory, blackownedempowereddirectory.com. And then Mary, on LinkedIn, any of your handles, whatever you want to get, it's all in there. But if you want to give a shout out to how they can contact you if they want to work with you.
Absolutely. Definitely, if you want to connect up, you go to the directory. That is a good place to start, just because it's so complete. It allowed me to upload some of my podcasts, because I do podcasts too. And actually, that's one of my vehicles for getting in people that I think I want to work with. So it's really good. But a lot of good information there. And that's how I've gotten to know a couple of people that I really like. And also, I've had inquiries through the directories. So thank you, Jackie. It's
that's what our goal is, to connect people. And it's a simple way to do it, because you don't have to go here, there, and everywhere. You can have all your social media there. You can have your videos, your blogs.
That's what I love.
Your events, if you're doing a course, all of that in one spot. And to me, that's like gold, especially for what we're charging, because it really is very inexpensive. I looked at
it's one-stop shop.
It is, but advertising is very expensive.
It is.
And when you're talking about the opportunity to get in front of close to 4 million people, that's where we are now. for 97, 175, or 450 for a lifetime, that's no money. That really isn't any
Yeah.
money, because you'll buy a you could buy a commercial, that'll play, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 times, and spend thousands of dollars. And then after it's gone, it's just gone.
Yeah.
Right?
I think that's what you look at with something like this. It's more than just advertising. It's an opportunity to connect right inside of the platform.
Absolutely.
And I think that's what makes it valuable is when you see somebody or you feel like there's a connecting point there, then you can jump on it and actually activate that right then and there. There's
Yes.
usually a button that you can hit. And so I would say that's just exactly what everybody needs, especially if you're an entrepreneur or a professional person, whether you're a woman or a man, even though it says Black women empowered. I know that you have some men there because I have
We
seen
have
them.
we take, look, we take everybody's money.
There you go. But when you look at even the top line of what you're charging there, you make that back in one business transaction that you might do with somebody there, and so
Absolutely.
it makes it so much easier. It's a no-brainer when you start to think about all the things that you can do with it. But you just reminded me of another feature when you said that that I forgot about. Oh yeah, I need to.
And one thing I don't think you're taking advantage of, Mary, you can have your clients go there and write reviews. And that is really a nice feature. A lot of people don't pay attention to that, but it means a lot when somebody can go and see, what other people are saying about you. It helps enhance your business.
It does. It does. You're so well connected yourself, Jackie. That do you have you in there? Let's just make
Yeah,
sure you've
I'm
got
in
you.
there. I am in there. Yes, ma'am. I'm in there.
All right, that's
But
good.
I'm just glad to be connected with you, and I really do thank you for all you do. I consider you my friend, my sister. We've said this for forever, because you have really connected me with some amazing people. I'm not going to spill the beans on our upcoming project, but let me tell you, it's a big one.
There's more out there, Jackie. I can help
Yes,
you with
that.
more.
Well, I'm talking about the one that you got me.
Oh, I know. I'm talking about another one that's coming
Oh,
on too.
well,
It could
bring it on,
be,
girl. Bring it on.
yeah, it could be good too. Yeah. So,
But
and
but
I,
but
I honor you for everything that you do and how you do it with such faith and such heart. You're God supported, and that we all are if we allow ourselves to be. But it's evident with you, and you have a heart for not just for your business, but for doing good outside your business, outside the doors of your business. And so I think that food charity that you're involved in, I think that's so important. I think I was telling my husband, if I had to pick a charity mostly to be involved in locally like that, it would have to be something like that. It would have to be, whether it's Meals on Wheels or just, a food pantry or something like that. It would just need to be.
well, that is my passion. I've done it when I was in North Carolina. I did food drives all the time, and it was just a perfect fit. When the CEO asked me to serve on their board, and the Community Harvest Food Bank of Northeast Indiana. It's funny how she has this hooked up, because listen to this. Whenever you mention her name on the web, she gets a notification. If you mention the,
Oh,
I,
is that a Google alert?
I gotta figure out how she did that, but she says, yeah, I got a notification that you're talking about me. But the main thing is, it is needed, and we are serving 1,600 people every Saturday go through our food line, because the need is so great, Mary,
Yeah.
with
Oh, I
inflation.
know. I mean, the
I'm
food
talking about
prices are
people
crazy.
who never had to reach out to anybody because of inflation. Now they can't afford their groceries because they're so high. So,
Yeah.
that's what we do. You're the same way. You have a heart for the people. I have a heart for the
I
people,
can't
and I
stand for
believe.
people not to be fed. I mean, if they're hungry, it hurts my heart. I don't even know where that came from because I never really was that starving when I was younger. But for some reason, that is a bugaboo with me. I cannot stand to see children hungry or older people hungry or anybody, it's just a thing. It's a basic need. You got to have it.
Well, God has given us what we need to empower, educate, and connect people from all over the world. And so we're doing it. And if you want to get connected with Mary, because like I said, she has, oh my God, her reach is global. I mean, our reach is global too, but her reach is global on a personal level. Our reach is global on a social media level. I don't know a lot of people in other countries. They just follow us. But Mary's getting ready to get me into Africa. She doesn't know it. But
that's one of my sweet spots too.
She's gonna get me some connections. But the thing is, check her out, because I'm sure that she has something that you need. You might even have something that she needs. And so it's really my honor to showcase Mary and let the world know what you're doing, because they need to know. And I thank you so much for everything that you've done for me. And you've been a blessing in my life. And I hope that I've been a blessing in yours.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So we thank you again. Share the broadcast. We will rerun it again and again, because a lot of people are at work. So we'll make sure that if you missed this episode, you'll get to see it later on in the week, or either next week. We'll rerun it again. Mary, thank you so much. You're a blessing. And we will talk soon.
Thank you.
Wait, before we go, any last words you want to say for the audience?
Be diverse in your networking. Make sure you stay global and diverse in your networking. Don't think linear. You got to get out wide. Okay.
Outside of the box. Thank you so much. God bless.
God bless.